Have you ever noticed how, after a long day filled with noise, chatter, traffic, phones buzzing, and constant background sounds, what your body craves most isn't necessarily a nap or even a full night's sleep, it's just a few minutes of silence? Maybe you've had those moments when you turn off the TV, put your phone away, and suddenly the whole world feels calmer. You might even say to yourself, finally, some peace and quiet. That feeling is more powerful than most of us realize, and it goes deeper than simple relaxation. Silence, it turns out, is something your brain craves even more than sleep itself. We often treat sleep as the ultimate reset button for the body and mind. And yes, sleep is absolutely essential. You can't survive without it. But here's the surprising truth. Your brain doesn't only need rest in the form of sleep, it needs moments of true stillness. Think of silence as a hidden nutrient for your mind. Just as your body requires vitamins and minerals to function properly, your brain requires silence to heal, grow, and thrive. Why is that? Well, modern life doesn't exactly make silence easy to come by. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded with sound. The alarm clock, morning news, social media notifications, people talking around us, and the hum of traffic. Then, as the day rolls on, we deal with meetings, conversations, background music, television, and the never-ending ping of messages. We live in what researchers sometimes call a noise epidemic. It's constant, it's exhausting, and it can make your brain feel overloaded even if you've had a full night's sleep. Here's where the science comes in. Studies have shown that noise doesn't just distract us, it actually changes the way our brain and body function. Loud or constant background noise raises levels of stress hormones like cortisol. It makes your heart beat faster and your blood pressure rise. Even when you don't consciously notice noise, your brain does. It's always monitoring the environment for potential threats, and sound is one of its main warning systems. That means when there's noise, your brain is working overtime, even if you're not aware of it. Over time, this constant low-level stress drains you, making you feel tired, irritable, and mentally foggy. Now, compare that with silence. Neuroscientists have found something remarkable. When you sit in silence, even for just a few minutes, your brain begins to repair itself in ways similar to, and in some cases even stronger than, what happens during sleep. For instance, silence encourages the growth of new brain cells in regions connected to memory and learning. This means that quiet moments literally make your brain healthier and sharper. One study in mice showed that 2 hours of silence each day led to the development of new cells in the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory. While we aren't mice, the implication is clear. Silence creates the conditions for mental renewal. Think about this in your own life. Have you ever struggled to remember something after spending hours in a noisy environment? Maybe you left a party, a busy office, or a shopping mall, and your head just felt full, like you couldn't think straight. That's your brain telling you it's overloaded. On the other hand, if you've ever taken a quiet walk in the park, sat in a peaceful room, or simply turned off all the noise for a few minutes, you probably noticed how much clearer and lighter you felt afterward. It's not just in your imagination. Silence is literally giving your brain space to breathe. This also explains why some people go on silent retreats, or why monks and spiritual seekers throughout history have valued silence as a form of nourishment. Silence isn't just a spiritual or philosophical idea, it's biological. Your brain needs it the same way your lungs need oxygen. Without silence, your brain is constantly stuck in alert mode. With silence, your brain finally shifts into recovery mode. And this recovery mode is essential for creativity, problem solving, emotional balance, and overall mental health. Interestingly, silence doesn't even have to be long to be powerful. Research shows that just 2 minutes of silence can have a deeper calming effect on your brain than listening to relaxing music. Isn't that amazing? 2 minutes. Imagine what a habit of 5 or 10 minutes of silence a day could do for you. It's almost like giving your brain a mini vacation, no passport required. Now, you might wonder, does this mean silence is more important than sleep? Not exactly. You still need both, but silence addresses a different need that sleep alone can't fully satisfy. Sleep resets your body and processes memories, but silence heals the mind from the overstimulation of the modern world. That's why many people feel exhausted even after a good night's rest, because they're starved of silence. Without it, your brain is like a phone that charges overnight but is still running dozens of apps in the background. Sure, the battery fills up, but it drains quickly because it never truly powers down. So, here's the big idea. Silence isn't just golden, it's vital. It's the missing ingredient in many of our lives. And if you've ever wondered why you feel better after shutting off the noise, now you know. It's your brain's way of thanking you. Silence is like medicine. And in a noisy world, that medicine is in short supply. Now that we've opened the door to why silence is so essential, let's talk about the first powerful move you can make to bring more of it into your life: creating intentional quiet moments each day. You might be thinking, that sounds simple, but my life is too busy for that. And that's exactly the problem most of us face. We wait for silence to find us, instead of choosing it on purpose. But here's the truth. You don't have to go on a week-long silent retreat or move to a cabin in the mountains to give your brain what it needs. You can build silence into your ordinary daily routines, just like you would schedule a meal or a meeting. Think about your day for a moment. From the minute you wake up, sound rushes in. Maybe it's your alarm, your family, the street outside, or the news. And before you know it, the day is filled with chatter, traffic, music, and endless notifications. By the time the evening arrives, your brain has been on duty for hours and hours. No wonder so many people collapse into bed feeling exhausted but not truly restored. Here's the first solution. Start and end your day with silence. It doesn't need to be long. Even 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes before bed can create a dramatic shift in your mental well-being. Imagine waking up and instead of instantly reaching for your phone, you sit quietly by the window, take a deep breath, and simply let your mind settle. No news. No messages. Just stillness. In that moment, your brain isn't processing new information. It's resting. And then at night, imagine ending the day the same way. You turn off the TV, put your phone aside, and just sit in silence before bed. These little bookends of quiet can set the tone for a calmer day and a deeper sleep. Science supports this, too. Studies show that brief periods of silence lower blood pressure, slow your heart rate, and reduce stress hormones. That means your body actually enters a state of repair when you intentionally sit in silence. It's like hitting the reset button, not only on your mind but on your entire nervous system. But here's something even more fascinating. Silence improves your brain's ability to process and organize thoughts. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, your brain doesn't have the space to reflect or sort through all the information it's absorbing. Silence gives your mind the breathing room it needs to make connections, spark creativity, and even solve problems you didn't know you had. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas often come to you in the shower, on a quiet walk, or during a moment of stillness? That's not a coincidence. That's your brain using silence to put the puzzle pieces together. Let's make this practical. How can you start incorporating silence today? One of the easiest ways is to practice microsilence. That means taking advantage of short windows throughout the day. For example, turn off the radio when you drive for a few minutes. Pause in between meetings to sit quietly. Step outside during lunch and just listen to the sounds of nature. Or, if you're in the city, simply close your eyes and breathe. These tiny slices of quiet add up, and they give your brain exactly what it's craving. You can also create intentional quiet zones in your home. Maybe that's a favorite chair, a corner of the garden, or even a spot at your desk where you allow yourself a break from noise. The idea isn't to be rigid or forceful. It's to make silence an accessible part of your life, so your brain doesn't have to beg for it. Another beautiful benefit of practicing silence daily is that it strengthens your emotional resilience. Silence gives you a chance to notice your feelings instead of drowning them out with sound. You might realize you've been more anxious than you thought, or that you're carrying stress you didn't notice before. By sitting quietly, you give yourself space to process emotions rather than bury them. That makes you stronger, calmer, and more in control when life throws challenges your way. For seniors, this practice is especially powerful. As we age, the world can feel increasingly overwhelming, whether it's from health concerns, busy households, or just the constant stimulation of modern technology. Silence becomes not just a luxury but a lifeline. It's a way to stay mentally sharp, emotionally balanced, and physically healthier. And the beauty is, anyone can do it. You don't need special tools or training. You just need to give yourself permission to pause. So, the first key move is clear. Make silence intentional. Stop waiting for it to happen by accident. Choose it. Protect it. Treat it like the precious medicine it is. Even a few minutes sprinkled throughout your day can lead to profound benefits: sharper thinking, calmer emotions, and a healthier body. And once you start creating those intentional quiet moments, you'll notice something incredible. Your brain doesn't just rest in silence, it also begins to heal and rewire itself. Silence restores focus, strengthens your memory, and helps you reconnect with what matters most. By now, you've seen how silence acts like medicine for the mind, reducing stress, creating calm, and even sparking creativity. But there's another remarkable benefit of silence that deserves its own spotlight. It restores focus and mental clarity in a way that sleep alone cannot. We live in a world of endless distractions. Phones buzz, notifications pop up, conversations happen around us, and we often find ourselves juggling multiple tasks at once. It's no wonder that many people complain about having trouble concentrating. Our attention spans are stretched thinner than ever, and our brains are constantly being pulled in 100 directions. Sleep may recharge your body, but it doesn't fix distraction. That's where silence comes in. Think of your brain like a snow globe. When you're bombarded with noise and stimulation, it's like someone has shaken that globe over and over. Thoughts and feelings swirl in every direction. Sleep may calm the storm for a while, but the moment the world wakes you up with more noise, the snow starts swirling again. Silence, however, is what allows the snow to settle. It clears the mental cloudiness, leaving space for focus and clarity. One everyday example is trying to work in a noisy environment. Have you ever attempted to read, write, or study while people around you are chatting, or while music blares in the background? Even if you think you're used to it, your brain is secretly multitasking, trying to filter out irrelevant sounds while also processing the task at hand. This split attention drains your energy, and over time it makes you less productive. But the moment you step into silence, whether it's a library, a quiet room, or even a peaceful corner of your house, you can feel your brain click back into gear. Suddenly, focusing becomes easier, as though you've cleared mental static from the airwaves. Neuroscience backs this up. Research shows that silence actually enhances the brain's ability to regenerate connections between cells. These connections are critical for learning, memory, and focus. When you give yourself quiet time, your brain strengthens these pathways, which helps you pay attention more deeply. In fact, just a few minutes of silence can improve your ability to concentrate on a task afterward. It's like sharpening your mental lens so the world comes back into focus. A relatable story illustrates this perfectly. Imagine an older gentleman named David who spent most of his day in front of the television, scrolling through his phone and chatting with friends. He often complained of brain fog, feeling like his thoughts were muddled and his memory was slipping. At first, he thought he just needed more sleep. But even after a full night of rest, the fog lingered. Then he tried something new. Each morning, before turning on any devices, he spent 10 minutes sitting quietly with a cup of tea. At first it felt strange, almost uncomfortable. But soon, he noticed something shifting. His thoughts felt clearer. He could focus on conversations better. He even remembered names and details that used to slip away. The difference wasn't more sleep, it was silence. You might find the same thing happens in your own life. Maybe you've experienced those rare quiet mornings where you had time to sit with yourself before the day began. Notice how you were able to tackle the rest of the day with more clarity and energy. That's silence working its magic. It's like cleaning the windows of your mind so you can see clearly again. Here's another way silence boosts focus. It reduces what psychologists call cognitive load. That's the mental effort it takes to process information. In noisy environments, your brain uses up precious resources just trying to filter sounds. But in silence, those resources are freed up for deeper thinking. That's why writers, scientists, and inventors often retreat to quiet spaces when working on big ideas. They know that clarity comes when the noise fades away. For seniors especially, focus is invaluable. Many worry about memory lapses or difficulty concentrating as they age. But silence can act as a powerful ally. By practicing quiet moments daily, seniors can sharpen their mental clarity and keep their minds active and resilient. Silence gives them not only peace but also the ability to engage more fully with loved ones, hobbies, and daily life. The key here is to stop viewing silence as empty or unproductive. Too often, people feel guilty when they're not doing something, filling every spare minute with sound or activity. But silence isn't wasted time, it's productive rest for your brain. In fact, it's the secret ingredient to getting more out of the rest of your day. The sharper your focus, the better you can enjoy conversations, learn new skills, or even simply remember where you left your keys. So, the second move is simple yet profound. Use silence to restore your focus. Give yourself the gift of quiet moments where you can let your thoughts settle. Whether it's turning off background noise for a few minutes, taking a silent walk, or simply sitting in stillness, these small choices can transform your ability to concentrate. And when you embrace silence not just as a pause but as a daily practice, something deeper unfolds. Silence doesn't just calm you or sharpen your focus. It begins to reconnect you with yourself, with your inner wisdom, and with the people you love. Silence builds not only clarity but also independence, hope, and strength. We've talked about how silence calms your stress and how it restores your focus, but there's one more layer to its power that often goes unnoticed. Silence doesn't just help your brain survive, it helps you reconnect with your inner strength, independence, and sense of purpose. In a world where so much of our time is consumed by noise and distraction, silence gives us back something priceless, ourselves. It allows us to hear the quiet voice inside, the one that tells us what we value, what we dream of, and what really matters. Without silence, that inner voice is drowned out by the constant chatter of the outside world. But with silence, we discover clarity not only about our thoughts but also about our lives. Think about it this way. Silence is not an absence, it's a presence. It's a space where wisdom, creativity, and self-awareness can surface. For seniors, this presence can be especially powerful. As life slows down, many people fear losing independence or feeling irrelevant. Yet silence can become a source of empowerment. It's in those moments of quiet reflection that you realize you still hold knowledge, memories, and insight that no one else has. Silence gives you room to appreciate those treasures. One powerful story comes from a woman named Maria. In her 70s, she often felt lonely after her children moved away. She filled her days with television and radio just to avoid the sound of an empty house. But when she began practicing daily silence, sitting for 15 minutes without turning anything on, she discovered something surprising. Instead of feeling lonely, she began to feel peaceful. She noticed details in her garden she had overlooked. She remembered joyful moments from her past. She even found herself writing little notes and letters to her children, expressing thoughts she hadn't shared in years. What she discovered was this: silence didn't make her feel empty. It made her feel full of memory, gratitude, and self-connection. This is the third move. Use silence to reconnect with yourself and to nurture independence. It may sound small, but it has enormous effects. When you sit quietly, you don't depend on external noise to fill the space. You realize you already carry strength within you. That realization builds confidence. It helps you trust yourself more deeply and lean less on distractions. Silence also strengthens relationships in a surprising way. When you spend time in quiet reflection, you become more present with others. Instead of rushing through conversations or half listening while your mind spins, silence trains you to pause, breathe, and truly hear the people you care about. Imagine sitting with a loved one, not with background noise or distractions, but in shared quiet. That kind of presence is a gift, and it deepens bonds in ways words cannot. Another beautiful benefit of silence is how it inspires hope. In quiet moments, many people rediscover a sense of possibility. They realize they're not just reacting to life, they can shape it. Silence gives you the clarity to see paths forward, even when challenges seem overwhelming. It's often in silence that people find the courage to take small but meaningful steps, whether that's starting a new hobby, reaching out to an old friend, or simply embracing a healthier routine. For seniors especially, silence is not about retreating from life. It's about engaging with it more meaningfully. It's about remembering that every day offers an opportunity for joy, connection, and growth. Silence opens the door to that deeper awareness. As we close this journey, let's tie everything together. Sleep is vital, but silence is the hidden partner your brain has been craving. Silence reduces stress and repairs your brain. It restores your focus and sharpens your clarity. And finally, it reconnects you with your inner strength, independence, and sense of purpose. The world will always be noisy. We can't control every sound around us, but we can choose to carve out moments of silence, moments that act as medicine, as nourishment, and as a reminder of who we truly are. And here's the inspiring truth: silence is free. It doesn't require equipment or travel. It's available to you in every breath, in every pause, in every quiet choice you make. So, the next time you feel exhausted, distracted, or overwhelmed, remember this: your brain may not be asking for another nap or another distraction. What it may truly be craving is silence. Give yourself that gift. Embrace those moments of stillness. And watch how your mind, your body, and your spirit begin to heal and flourish. Silence is more than the absence of noise. It is the presence of peace. It is the gateway to clarity. And for many, it becomes the path to a life of strength, hope, and independence.